I'm always fascinated by the story of the wise men. It's a bit like a jigsaw. We have some of the pieces, but there are so many more pieces missing as well. In my local church on Mill Street, there's the most beautiful stained glassed window by the famous Harry Clark. It's probably the finest in Ireland, Europe, probably right across the world. You'll get nothing like it. But it just pulls you into the beauty of the story of the wise men. In many parts of our world today, and this is universal, there is just huge interest in the wise men, who they were, where they came from, and why, of course. In many Eastern European countries today, they still give gifts on the feast of the Epiphany, and it's just as important as Christmas Day to them. In every crib, in every church, during the first week in January, they're putting in the crib figures of the wise men. But just as that's happening, most people are taking down their Christmas decorations and putting out the Christmas tree for recycling. So I do feel the wise men kind of lose out a bit. The only account we have of the wise men is from Matthew's Gospel. In Luke's Gospel, he focuses in on the nativity story, the shepherds, and they coming down from the hills to visit Jesus and the stable on that Christmas night. But Matthew's account is very, very different. In Matthew's account, he doesn't mention the 3 wise men. He said some wise men came to Jerusalem from the east. Now, Matthew's story and Luke's story are so different, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's a bit like a football match. Luke's story is all about the first half. Matthew's story is all about the second half. Now, we know there was a big time lag between the 2 stories, possibly weeks, maybe months, maybe even longer. But the main thing was that the wise men, they undertook this journey because it meant something very special to them. From Matthew's Gospel, we read, "And there in front of them was the star they had seen rising. It went forward and halted over the place where the child was. The sight of the star filled them with delight, and going into the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and falling to their knees, they did him homage." We are so aware of our universe today thanks to science, and we know that our universe is 13.8 billion years old. We are very much in touch with the Earth and how the universe has evolved. But I suppose we've also lost touch with the natural world, and we've lost touch with nature because of so much technology. But every generation you go back, they were so tuned into nature and the beauty of the stars, and the wise men themselves, they were astrologers, so they would have known everything about the stars, about our planet Earth, about the moon, and so much more. And the main thing in their lives, of course, was when they saw this amazing star. And whatever it was about the star that they saw in the sky that night, they knew that this was so different to something they had ever seen before, and they had to follow it. Tradition has given names to the wise men: Melchior, Caspar, and Balthazar. Tradition also tells us that there was a 4th wise man whose name was Artaban. Now, he's not mentioned in the Gospels, but tradition says that he arrived late at the meeting point. The wise men had already left, and we're told he had gifts of a sapphire, a ruby, and a pearl of great price. We're told that he sold those gifts because he met people in great need, and the money he raised from the gifts he used to help so many people. That's how the story goes. Now, what we don't know so far about the journey of the wise men, well, first of all, we don't know where they actually started. Okay, they came from the east, but where exactly, we don't know, or we also don't know how long it took them, that journey. We also don't know whether they travelled as part of a family or part of a bigger group. We also don't know if the women travelled with them, whether as a wife or a partner or a girlfriend. What we do know so far is that they just followed this amazing star that was truly beyond words in their lifetime, and that this star brought them to the baby Jesus. Now again, we don't know whether Jesus was a few weeks or a few months or older. It doesn't matter. They found Jesus, and that was the whole goal of their journey in finding Jesus. The gifts that the wise men brought marked Jesus out as being very precious and special, just like gold, so precious and rare. Frankincense, this has a unique and distinctive smell, again used for incense and religious rites, and again just marked Jesus out as being unique. And then myrrh, this was one of the most precious herbs of the East, and it was used as a perfume, and again bringing this to Jesus marked him out as being so precious and unique. Pope Francis has a beautiful line on the wise men. He said, like the wise men, if we want to find Jesus, we have to overcome our fear of taking risks. Risks are worth the effort, since in finding that child, in discovering his tenderness and love, we rediscover ourselves. And finally, the fourth wise person can also be you. Allow yourself to be inspired, energized, and brave enough to follow your dreams, your hopes, and what you want in your life to become reality. You too can be the difference. Thank you for watching.